What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today we'll be discussing Saturn in the first house. What happens when the planet of restriction, limitation, time, older people comes into the house of personality, awareness, everything we show to the world, our physical body. Well, keep in mind that I said Saturn represents older people, right? He represents time, father time, always depicted as an older person, right? Ancient wise. When Saturn gets into the ascendant, it automatically not only matures the person personality wise, but physically. I just met a gentleman last night. He and I, same age, 24 years of age, and he looked literally 10 years older than me, maybe like 3 inches and 60 more pounds heavier too. But I was astonished to see we were the same age, and he said, yeah, I know, man, stress is killing me. He hates his job. And I was thinking, man, he must have a strong Saturn, or a Saturn in the ascendant, right? So Saturn kind of speeds up the aging process here instead of really slowing it down. But sign placement, sign placement is key, because Saturn, Saturn and Gemini in the ascendant may may age gracefully and not old, but a Saturn in Capricorn or so may just always look beyond their years. And with speak and continuing with maturity, it automatically makes the person mature from their young, very much understanding of what they need to do. The Saturn in the first house are the children who come home and take pride in doing their homework. As the parent, you'll come home and you just check your kids' homework. You don't have to hassle them to do it. That's Saturn in the first house. Um, you know, with Saturn being here and being the chart ruler, right? Not chart ruler, pardon me, not being the chart ruler, but having a strong effect on the rest of the chart, it's making the person feel like they've got a lot of responsibility. What now? More times than not, they actually will. You know, Saturn in the first house could end up being the youngest kid, and is the one that takes care of everyone, including the parents, right? But just regardless of whether or not or how heavy the load is, they'll feel like they always got the world on their shoulders, and they just have this sense of duty and a way to conduct themselves. So Saturn representing limitations, what it's doing is actually limiting the personality in a manner. And I say that because Saturn is goes by the book, follows the rules. Okay, so this is very much so. This could be a person, right? Now I'm gonna get into, because there's not every Saturn, and from what I've seen in the first house specifically, is not actually organized. It's something that they're working to, but we'll get there. But I was saying what I was saying, how it limits personality is that, okay, you look at everything in the sense of routine, right? And you look at it in the sense of responsibility. So when it comes to things like your job and your relationship, you are very much so dedicated to that. Now, when it comes to breaking the rules or maybe just living a little, this is where the limitation comes in. You stay within the lines a lot, okay? And what I've seen is a lot of Saturns in the first house, especially those who get married early, end up in divorce, because despite however their Venus and things are like that are placed, it Saturn's presence in this relationship is drying up the essence somewhat. Okay, worse if Venus is sitting here with Saturn. But like I said, every combination has its good and its bad. So there will be positives to this. You'll be much more responsible with your endeavors and things like that. But ultimately, with Saturn representing time, these people usually get better with time, right? So depending on how strong your Saturn is, which I would say in the ascendant, what I've seen Capricorn and Libra, it really the end. Also Aquarius, it does the best. It can do its thing the best. Virgo as well. Virgo is very much so by the book, and that can also with Virgo, it can cause a lot of health problems. Okay, so depending on how Saturn is being aspected and things too, the person's health can suffer. It's either going to be really really solid or really really bad, right? But or just it'll be these chronic things that come every now and then, accidents and things like that, right? But for those of you who have Saturn in the first house and you're like, man, like I want to be organized, I know what I should do, but I can't. You're gonna get better with time. Okay? For those of you who are not embodying this aspect, it's essential that you do so because you've received this placement because somewhere in your past you were locked into something and you did it to mastery. You know how they say if you do something for 10,000 hours, you're like an expert at it. Yeah, this is Saturn in the first house. They're very much so have a lot have the ability to have a lot of skills. And another reason why I said it limits personalities because they fall into the routine, and they tend to lack spontaneity, right? And that kills things like the relationships. So, another thing I always think about Saturn in the first house, but also, I don't know why, it's just I do because it's so serious and quiet. Librarians, I always think about that. Like, man, librarians must have a crazy Saturn, right? And going back to the topic of limiting personality in work and stuff, because Saturn is by the books, they're just that they get ahead in positions and stuff because they are enforcers of the rules, so it kind of isolates them, to some degree, and people may not notice it, but people feel awkward around them because of their Saturn nature of seriousness and just following the rules and things like that. So, guys, this was my interpretation of Saturn in the first house. I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, feel free to do so. Until next time, peace.